Hey, kindergarten friends, Miss Ingram here. Today, I would like for us to do some exit tickets working with the standard KCC 6, which is going over groups and talking about whether a group has more or greater or less or the same. And we're going to do different strategies to figure out whether a group has more or less or the same or equal to. All right, so let's get started. This first one, it tells us how many squares we're going to color red. How many? 6. So Miss Ingram's going to color 6 squares red, best that I can. I'm not going to color it all in. It's hard on the computer. So there, I've got 6 red. Then it wants me to color how many blue? 8. You're right. So now Miss Aaron's going to color 8 blue. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we colored 6 squares red, 8 squares blue. Now it says to draw a line under the shorter row. So let's look at our row of cubes here. I have 6 and 8. Which row is shorter? Which row is shorter? 6. The row of 6 is shorter. So I'm going to draw a green line under the row of 6. Now it says to draw a circle around the row with less squares. Less squares. So if this row is shorter because it only has 6, and this row is longer because it has 8, which row has less squares? You're right. The row with 6 squares because 6 is a smaller number than 8. So now I'm going to take my green and circle around the row with less squares. Great job. Let's move on. Remember, we are comparing two groups and figuring out what has less or more, or maybe even the same or equal, same value as. Here we go. Let Miss Ingram erase what I had and we'll get started. So here it looks like we have some yellow cubes and blue cubes. And at the top it says put a circle around the row with more cubes. Now, if you have been watching the videos, you may remember the strategy that Miss Ingram works with is to check and count. It helps me remember how many that I have counted. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to check and count as we go. That way we can figure out how many is in the group. So we're going to count the group of yellow cubes first. And we're going to check and count as we go. You count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many? 7. Miss Ingram also likes to write her number beside of her group because that might help me later. And you see how I I marked through every cube as we counted. That helps Miss Ingram remember, oh, I've already counted that one. I don't need to count it again. Now let's look at the group of blue cubes. We're going to check and count again. You count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many? 6. And again, I'm going to write my number 6 over here to help me compare these two groups. Now, the directions at the top, it told us to put a circle around the row with more cubes. So we checked and counted, and we have 7 here and 6 here. Which row has more cubes? Yellow. You're right. Yellow has more cubes. Yellow has more cubes. Now they tried to trick us. If you'll look, you see the yellow cube row, it stops here and the blue row goes past it. So they were trying to trick us here, but the yellow cubes were scooted closer together than the blue cubes. The blue cubes were spaced out, and there were only 6 instead of 7. So make sure that you check and count so that your problem does not trick you. So now let's look down here. It looks like we have some cylinders. It wants us to color the box with less cylinders. So this time we're talking about less. So a group that's going to be smaller, less. So again, we're going to check and count. I'll just keep my yellow here. And let's check and count this first group of cylinders. 1, 2, 3, 4. We checked and we counted, and now Miss Ingram's writing her number beside of the group so that I know how many. And how many was in the first group? 4. Very good. Now let's check and count the next group of cylinders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many? 5. Good. So I wrote my number 5. It says color the box with less cylinders. So less is going to be a smaller group. Which group has less cylinders? Is it 4 or 5? 4. Very good. 4 is less than 5. So Miss Ingram would color the group with 4. Very good. Let's do one more exit ticket together. Working with this standard, comparing groups to see which group has more or less or equal. So Ms. Ingram's going to erase our work from the previous problem. And let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. It looks like a family, a hen with her chicks, and we have some worms. And then down at the bottom, it looks like we have some dogs. All right, I think we're ready. Here we go. At the top, it says, are there more birds or worms? Circle the group with the greater amount. Greater, greater than. You see that word is darker black. It wants us to remember we're looking for the group that has the greater amount. So again, we're going to go back to that strategy of check and count. I'll just keep my teal color here, and we will count the birds. Now, don't just count these baby chicks. The mama is a bird too. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many birds? 4. Remember, Miss Ingram likes to write her number. That helps me. It's a good way to remember how many you counted. Now let's go over to the worms. We're going to check and count the worms. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sam's going to write her number again. 5 worms. It tells us to circle the group with the greater amount. So greater, I know, is going to be a larger group. Which is the greater number? 4 or 5? 5. Good job. So there are more worms than birds. So I'm going to circle my group of worms. Very nice. Now, let's take a look at these dogs down here. It says to draw a set of bones that is less than the number of dogs. Less than, and we have to draw bones. So the first thing we need to figure out is how many dogs there are. So let's check and count the dogs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to write my 5 here. 5 dogs. So I know there's 5 dogs, and it wants us to draw a set of bones that is less than. So will I draw more than 5? No, I'm not going to draw more than 5. Less. Less will be smaller. So let's think of a number that is less than 5. If we're doing less, we're going to be going, think about that vertical number line game. If you are on 5, what number is less than 5? You would go down that vertical number line. So what would be under 5? 4. We could draw 4 bones. What could be another number? Keep going down that vertical number line in your head. We went down 4. What's next? 3. What's next? 2 and 1. So we could draw 4 bones, we could draw 3 bones, or 2 or 1. Wow, those numbers are all less than 5. Okay, so Miss Ingram is going to try her best to draw a bone here. So there's 1 bone, I'm trying really hard. 1 bone, I'll do 2. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, it is. I got a big bone there. All right, 2 bones. 2 is less than 5. And I could even write my number 2 here. There we go. All right, great job today. Make sure that you kiss those smart brains, and I hope that you have a great day.